Welcome to the Real Estate Fight Club, a podcast for agents where you'll witness a battle of opinions about topics affecting your real estate business. Now, always in your corner, here are your hosts, Jenn Mertland and Monica Weekly.
Welcome to another episode of Real Estate Fight Club. What's up, Jay Mert?
You know, I am pumped for this episode.
I am too, because I have a feeling like my head's going to explode and I'm actually really going to learn something today that I have no knowledge about. I'm super grateful that you're here again, listening to Real Estate Fight Club, sharing, subscribing, following us on the Insta, Twitter, and all the thing. No, not on Twitter. What do we call it? Insta
Talk.
Insta Talk. Yeah, Insta Talk and the Faceagram and all the things. So we really appreciate you guys, and we love when you share a podcast with your fellow agents as well. Today, Jen and I are going to be duking it out over this question. How do you go from chasing commissions to earning forever money in real estate? Yes. How do you get from this space of one commission, next commission, one at a time, to earning forever money in real estate? And we've got the perfect person to school us all today.
Yep, she is going to show us how to get off that hamster wheel. Here with us today is Mandy McAllister. She is, yay, Mandy! She is a licensed real estate agent and entrepreneur turned full-time real estate investor and CEO of GoBundance Women. Hello, Mandy.
Hi. I could not be more excited to be with these two dynamos. Thank you.
Can you share with us, Mandy, a little bit about your journey and create some context for even why we should be considering and thinking about getting out off of this, the rat race and off the wheel?
Sure. The bulk of my career, I did absolutely spend in sales, but it was kind of more medical device type sales. And, you know, part of the reason that I decided to go whole hog into investments is I had just won a President's Club. And the way that these type of medical device type jobs worked is once you hit whatever number, that became expected plus whatever growth rate you had, right? So I wasn't hitting the number the year after a big time number 3 in a company of 500 President's Club win, right? And my boss was like, well, just go through patient charts. Just go do this thing that is completely not okay. And I was a brand new single mom. I was just going through a divorce, and I had a full-on panic attack. It wasn't diagnosed, but I'm sure that that's what it was, like couldn't breathe. Like I was, everything was wrong. Right. And I realized, oh my God, what is going to happen? I can't do this. That is not okay. And then I realized, oh wait, I have $3,000 or $4,000 coming in from my rentals. I'm not going to starve. I'm going to pay my mortgage. I'm going to feed my kid. We will be we're not going to be luxury living on $4,000 a month, but we are going to be fine.
But I will survive.
Yeah, exactly. And then I realized, if I could keep doubling down on that instead of this career that's just chasing my tail, chasing these commissions, then, that is a path to a bigger, more free life.
Can we pause there? Because I think you said something oh, sorry. Were you about to say the same thing, Monica?
Maybe. I'm thinking you're going from $48,000 a year to an investor. You're now going to be an investor.
Well, I 8 years ago, was only doing $3,000, $4,000 cash flow.
That's amazing. That makes it also within reach. Is that what you were going to say, Jen?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say it's a mindset thing, right? It's we're so, as agents, and any type of sales can feel this pain, right? You're so focused on the next deal, the next deal, the next deal, the next deal. There's this moment that you had, Mandy, that a lot of us have where we pause and we're like, is this how it goes? Mm-hmm. Because this is, I'm burnt out. I'm stressed out. I'm all these things, right? This is not going to work long-term. So what do I do now?
I'll tell you, it was very lucky that I had been involved in this investing stuff. But I really feel like, the more you can focus on stuff that you don't have to touch to make you money, You know, I was talking to a friend who has been killing it selling baseball cards lately. Like there's, for whatever reason, that's a hedge against inflation, these baseball card things. And this is like all the hotness, but he has to touch every single one. I'm like, okay, great. That's a good idea. How do you get yourself out of it? Right. So it's a lot like being an agent, you know, like how do I build a team? How do I get myself out of all of this minutia that's keeping me from doing the bigger, badder stuff, you know?
Yeah. And one of the things is investing in real estate, like not fix and flip, but these long-term rentals, short-term rental type things.
100%. I think there's when we think real estate investor, HGTV paints things that real estate investor equals flipper, right? But I argue that if my intent is to build wealth, to like this forever money bucket, this thing that pays me forever that I run completely after, instead of running at, if you're going to go for the forever money, you have to stop yourself from solely focusing on things that pay you once. So let's think about that. What pays you once? Selling a house
Commission
will pay you once. Exactly. Flipping a house, you only get to flip that once and capture that upside, you know? There's so many things. Exchange, if you have a normal W-2 like that you sell those hours, you get paid once, right? So how do you take those things that you're doing and that capital you earn from that and throw it into something that is an annuity?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you saying don't spend more than you make? Is that what I heard? Wait a minute.
Okay, so I'm sitting here, let's say we've got listeners out there, average agents making kind of average, you know, nice money, decent money, living a better than average life, certainly. Don't have much money in the bank, but agree with this idea of forever money, as you say, which I love, and is exhausted from chasing the next commission.
And doesn't want to be a landlord.
How do we do this? Give us some sort of 50,000 foot kind of overview of the path.
So you're going to have to feel some pain at some point, right? In order to get to the land of glory. You know, it's like there is no magic pill. I just read Arnold Schwarzenegger's book, and one of my favorite pieces of that was everybody's looking for a magic pill, like a magic diet pill, when the magic diet pill is show up at the gym at 5 a.m. You know? So like, how can I be all of these things and not be a landlord and be financially free and? Well, you're going to have to do some of that BS before you get to the life that you want. But I'm here to tell you that if you buckle down and hustle and do stuff that people won't do for 5 years, then you're going to live a life that most people won't get to live for the rest of your life. Right. So it's know that you're sacrificing the short term. So if I'm talking to you and you're a 24-year-old, my advice is a little different than if you're a 42-year-old single mom, like your friend Mandy. Right. So I'm talking to the 24-year-old right now. If I had it all to do over, I don't have a lot of regrets in my life, but one thing I wish I would have done at 24, I wish I would have bought a fourplex and lived in one of the units and rented out the rest. You can get an FHA loan. You guys help your clients with this all the time. 3.5% down. You can buy that fourplex on a 3.5% down loan and then rent out the rest. Poof, you are living for free or with a profit. And in a year's time, you can move out of that and into something else. Right. So that is the primary step. Number one, you can rinse and repeat that with the appropriate rules around the FHA loan stuff. Call your mortgage broker to talk those things through. But, you know, you do that rinse and repeat for 5 years. Poof. You have 20 units under your belt.
Wow, that's,
you know,
and plenty of time to do that as a young 20, young 30 something, you know.
Wow. Absolutely.
Okay, so now you're talking to single mom, 40,
now 40 something.
Yeah. So if I were starting now, a thing that I have done with my son is I do live in flips. You know, a thing that I'm really good at in life is knowing when stuff is on sale. And I don't do a ton with my license, but one thing that I do is like I am a hawk for knowing that something's on sale, right? Like if I know for certain that toilet paper at Costco, when it gets to $13, that's as cheap as it's getting, and I buy all of it. You know what I'm saying? So I know how to do that with properties too. So I found 2 years ago a house in like the school district I wanted to be in that was priced at $249,000. I knew it was a $400,000 or $500,000 house. I bought it, I moved in, and then I sold it for $470,000.
Well, and that's one of the benefits of being in real estate and being a real estate agent, right? Like we are watching the market. And if you are an agent that is not watching the market, set up some CMA searches for yourself, watch the market, know your market, go do open houses for people, go preview houses, do all the things so that you can develop this sense of when things are a good deal.
And also to that end, though, if you are going to do what I call this live and flip strategy, if you live in a house for 2 of the last 5 years, the tax code is that you keep 100%, you probably know this as an agent, but 100% of the upside up to $250,000. Right. That is like tax-free money. That is bonkers. That will start an investment portfolio, no problem. Another thing that I want to point out that I don't think a lot of real estate agents know is this real estate professional status and what that means to especially investors. So if you are a real estate agent and all of your time is spent working in real estate, you're this close. You are so close to being able to elect this status. So what does that mean and why is it so powerful? Actually, go follow my friend Amanda Hahn. She wrote the Bigger Pocket books on tax, whatever. She does a really great job explaining all of this. But basically, there's active income and then there's passive income. So if you have rentals, you have passive income, and that's what you take passive losses against. You cannot take passive losses against active income. So yada, yada. If you are a real estate professional, you can unlock that and take passive losses against active income because everything you're doing is real estate. So, hey, government, exactly. So the depreciation loss that you would experience, that you wouldn't be able to touch if you weren't a real estate professional, opens the door so you are not paying taxes on a ton of your income. Let me give you a real quick example to crystallize this. If you had a property that you could take, let's say it puts out $30,000 in passive income, but you have $100,000 in passive losses. This is completely possible using a cost segregation strategy. Follow Amanda Hahn, she'll tell you all about it. Right? That's $70,000 that I don't get to use of quote unquote paper loss, right? If I elect real estate professional, I get to take that against an active commission that I earned, and you keep a lot more money in your pocket.
And I think what you're talking about and stuff that Monica and I are always preaching too is like running your business like a business. And when you run it like a business, you're well aware of your expenses. You have a tax professional that's helping you, a CPA, a bookkeeper, people that are helping you make sure that you're not overspending perhaps, but also maximizing the benefits to you.
I don't think a ton of real estate agents realize this real estate professional thing exists.
No.
Not. And if you're going to do that, it works best if you're going to do a cost segregation study on a larger property. It's a pretty advanced technique, and I swim in apartment buildings, like that's my jam as far as investment's concerned. But you would only do that if the building was worth, like, maybe you would do it as low as $500,000. For sure, you do it $1 million apartment complex or more. So it's a little bit more advanced, but you can passively invest in these deals. Like you could give someone who is a syndicator. I've put together syndications. So I've helped people place $100,000 investments into apartment buildings that then poof, they get this, they put $100,000 in and they got $70,000 in, paper losses and membership and ownership in a cash flowing asset. So there's tons of strategies.
What would you say to your CPA in order to make sure that he or she is properly positioning you with your filing?
So it's specifically the real estate professional status. So Google that. They would call it REPS, REPS, real estate professional status. Okay. So there's a lot of really good stuff out there, but my girl, I'm plugging the crap out of Amanda Hahn, but she deserves it. That she does a great job explaining this stuff for investors, and those books really spell things out quite well too.
Well, and you mentioned a syndication, which is a great way to invest without having to deal with the landlording part, but where you're owning long-term rentals and building long-term wealth, but not getting the calls on Christmas. And
What can you guys explain the syndication aspect in?
Absolutely. Yeah. So what a syndication is, so if someone takes your money and promises a return, by definition, per the SEC, they've sold a security, right? But a person like me who puts together those deals can go file for an exemption with the SEC, do all this work, and basically pool people's money together that, you know, all of us want to go in and buy a very large building, a $20 million building that none of us can buy on our own. But because we've pooled our money and done all the fancy footwork, making it legal through the SEC, now we can go buy shares, basically, for lack of a better way of putting it, in that building, you know? So you have partial ownership.
Got it.
it's not a REIT, which is on the stock market, but it's similar.
So it is similar insofar as you own partial ownership, but the tax benefits are so much better in a syndicated deal than it is in a REIT. So, I mean, especially if you're a real estate professional looking for tax write-downs and you have dollars to put into stuff, it's an easy way to not have to be a landlord. But I also would be remiss if I didn't say, like, this landlording stuff, it sucks if you have a single family home. Like, I mean,
we're gonna fight about this, Mandy.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, like the headaches that I've owned single family homes, I've owned small multis, I've owned 100-unit plus buildings. The least headaches that I get are from the 100-unit plus, because I got a guy.
Well, you have a manager there.
That's what I'm saying. The secret of the universe is, like, the accidental thing is that the bigger you go, the easier it gets.
Same with real estate deals.
That's exactly it. It's the same way in apartment investing. If you want to borrow from the government non-recourse debt of $1 million, it is so hard. You want to borrow $7 million, they'll throw it at you. There's a cutoff that happens that things get easier at these much larger amounts. It's so, like, mind-blowingly backwards. But once you realize it, like, just, you know, your playing small does not serve the world.
Yes.
Yes, I love it.
I have more questions. Should we take a break, Jen?
Yeah, it's time for a break.
Need to take a break. What are we breaking?
We're going to take a quick break, hear a word from our favorite partners. And when we return, I want to hear, after we invest in become landlords or do syndications or, you know, big deals, what else can we invest in that we should be investing in other than that? If you're like me, then what you need right now is great leads. My number one lead source is a marketing engine called Pipeline Pro Tools. So we've hooked up with them to give you the playbook that I'm using that has generated over 12 leads in the last 90 days. So go to pipelineprotools.com/fight club, book a quick demo so that they can help you figure out how many leads you will need in order to get the business that you're looking for. And then they will give you the playbook that I've been using for free. Again, that's pipelineprotools.com/fight club.
Welcome back. We're back with Mandy McAllister, who is teaching us how to create forever money. I mean, we as agents, we're in this incredible industry and we don't participate in it except for these ones.
Normalize retiring these realtors.
So sad. It's so sad. Mandy, how do you feel about the Airbnb world right now from an investor standpoint?
You know, if you look at all the data, the demand is going down, the supply is going up, and simple Econ 101 tells us that ain't such a good formula. Yeah. That being said, like the GoBundance women that I have this opportunity to lead, we have lots of short-term rental investors, and a lot of them are having success because they're doing the stuff that makes it really appealing. You know, just making sure that those listings are appropriately positioned. And frankly, I love a midterm rental.
Yeah.
Like I love a traveling nurse. I love a traveling professional furnished, but like more than a month. The headaches are so much less, but the revenue is so much more.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. I think, and Jen, you just, you've touched in this world a little bit. If you have the right property in the right place, isn't that the secret with Airbnb? I mean, the location, right? No,
I don't know that I 100% agree with that, because
if we fight.
Well, let's go, bro.
Go.
So I mean, I'm thinking about it like a consumer, right? I am not the smartest girl in the whole world, but I have a lot of really smart friends, and I like know how to think, like figure out how to think like the person who's going to buy the thing that I'm trying to sell. You know?
Yeah.
So if I am the consumer from Chicago who wants to go to a girls trip to Nashville, because that's what girls do. We go to Nashville, you know, like I search for, you know, how close, like how far is the Uber? Oh, a 10-minute Uber? That's great. It could be in the hood and I wouldn't know and I wouldn't look it up and it would be fine because I just need the, you know what I mean? Like not
like
necessarily, I'm not saying buy in the hood, but you know, it's the more proximity than actual specific location because in so many markets, you buy 3 blocks that way and it's going to be a half price property. You know what I mean?
True.
Well, okay. So we talked a lot about owning property. What else can we or should we be using our money to invest in to create this forever money?
A thing that like I've kind of completely dived down the rabbit hole on lately is just thinking about, all right, if I want to buy an apartment building at a 4 cap, which is basically what we're at in most primary markets that are growing that I would invest in. A 4 cap, the math on that basically says for $1 of cash flow, I'm willing to pay $25. If it turns to a 5 cap, I'm willing to pay $20 for $1 of cash flow, right? So the interesting thing is if I want to buy a laundromat, for every $1 of cash flow, I would pay like $2. That's way less. That's a bargain.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Or a car wash. Or I love this concept of how do I buy a boring business that won't go away?
Right.
So again, through GoBundance, a lot of my friends, like one bought a publishing company, one bought a copywriting company, one bought a lawn care company. Because the more, if you acquire a bunch of lawn care companies, now poof, you have this larger company, and the larger the company, the higher the multiple, so the more valuable the company, you know? So diving down this, how do I buy a business thing, it has been super interesting to me too. And honestly, you can also buy into a syndication of people putting together these businesses.
Very cool. Then who runs the business? So you buy the laundromat, then are you running a day-to-day laundromat?
The thing is, you could. I don't want to. Right. So there are some laundromats that like are completely self-contained, that are completely, you know, hands off. It's all automated. There's a real lean on technology lately for like, what is the type of business that's lacking technology that I can add a little technology to escape the need for more human resources. So one thing that I did, this is not necessarily a business, it's kind of a business, it's kind of real estate. I bought a motel, right? And the play was, you know, the Airbnb model, these Wi-Fi enabled locks, like making sure that everything is hands off. One of the things that we're working on sourcing right now is a locker that, you know, if you go to Home Depot and you punch in the code and a door pops open, well, I want that so that a towel can be in there, or a roll of toilet paper, or the things that you would call the front desk for all exist in this kind of external locker system, so that we don't have to employ someone full time.
Really cool.
I love
that.
That's
awesome.
Okay, so Mandy, we know we ought to be doing this. We can see that in 10 years from now, we're definitely going to be like, we would rather have the option to show a house than like have to show a house, right? So we understand we need to do this. What is our first step to like figuring out because everybody's situation is unique, right? So how do I figure out what I need to be doing today in order to be where I want to be in 10 years?
That's 100. I love that question, because if you don't begin with the end in mind, then you don't know. Like the thing for me was medical sales, right? And I had my ladder up against that medical sales wall, and I was climbing and I was schlepping and I was doing like, I got all these accolades. And then I got to the top and I'm like, wait, this sucks. I don't want to be on this wall.
This is not what I want.
So you got to
like building a real estate team. You're like,
right?
Oh God.
Right. You gotta really look at the end that you want. And the kind of exercise that I do on a regular basis is like, I just think about what is my perfect day. Like I wake up smelling coffee. I get to get ready slow. I see my kid off to school. Like think through what is your morning, your afternoon, your evening. What is that like, so that you're building towards that wall that you want to, your North Star that you're running after, right? And then it's like a Google map, right? Like you punch in where you want to go, and then you just think, oh, now I'm not thinking about that. I don't got to think about that anymore. I think about drive 500 feet, move left, turn left, right? Just what is the next right step to get me to my North
But
Star?
how are
And I
you
would,
staying on the path? Because it's, it's easy to veer off of that path.
100%. And I feel like that is recalculating. Google Maps. That is like reassessing where you're at on a very regular basis, making the time, put it in your calendar to check in quarterly about, am I on path? But I will say the first next right step, I think for any real estate agent, is look at where you're currently living. How can you use that situation to help get you out of the rat race? Could it be a live-in flip? Could it be a fourplex or something, a duplex that you rent out the other half? How can you leverage your current living situation to get you to retirement or choice?
I love it. And do you have a calculator that you use though, right? To help people? Tell us about that.
100%. So I realized kind of in that panic attack in the hospital parking lot moment thing that oh my gosh, there are these different levels of financial freedom. Knowing that I don't have to do something that is outside of my moral compass is a level of financial freedom. Do you know? It's not, I don't have the private jet yet. I don't have I wouldn't own a jet, the jet membership yet. You know what I mean? Like that sort of stuff, but I am financially free in some ways, right? So what I did is I created this little calculator to help me figure out, all right, this is a math problem, right? I know what it costs me to live my life. And I have been tracking on mint.com, Personal Capital. There's a ton of really great free resources that help you kind of normalize, figure out what it costs you to live your life every single month. Use those. And I explain all of this in the calculator, but I'll give your listeners a link to be able to access that calculator, because that will help you really firm up what is my North Star, so that I know if I'm next right stepping myself towards it.
That's awesome. I love that. Who is investing not for? Who should steer clear of all of this?
I feel like you have to be intellectually curious. I feel like you have to want to, you have to be okay screwing up. If you were so scared, I was a perfect little, you know what I mean? I got straight A's and I raised my hand
follower.
and I followed the rules. And then I was petrified of screwing up, right? And then my son was born and I realized, no, I have to go figure out a new way, So if you are too scared that you must be perfect and you're unwilling to screw up, bar none, then investing or trying anything new is not for you. You have to be open to fail forward.
This is true. That's a good answer. I like that.
Good life advice.
I don't know if this is true anymore, but I read once that most millionaires, one of the common threads of most millionaires is that, which actually isn't a real high bar anymore. It used to be kind of a bigger deal, but is that they own
real estate,
trailer parks, like the property that operate the trailer parks. Have you ever run into anyone investing in that, or have you ever thought of that? Yeah.
That's another kind of subset of multifamily investing. But one of the stats that, I don't know if this is the one you're thinking of, but 90% of all millionaires become millionaires because of real estate or store their wealth in real estate. So it's actually kind of a funny thing going around GoBundance, because so many of us are real estate centric at GoBundance that 90% of us are. Well, obviously we're the tribe of millionaires, right? So you'd think that the subset would be 90% representative, So anyway, awesome. Trailer parks are actually a pretty easy way to be a little more hands off, because in many cases you don't own the trailers themselves. You just own the land underneath the pad, as they call it, and you charge $300-400 for them to keep this thing that they're not going to move there every single month.
Yeah.
Can you do a quick plug for GoBundance Women?
Yeah, sure. GoBundance Women we are a tribe of healthy, wealthy, generous women who choose to lead epic lives. That we subscribe to being well-developed humans in the 6 pillars that we stand for. That age-defying health, accountability, adventures, financial freedom. You know, I feel like so much of this, when I was looking to join a group as an entrepreneur who felt alone, the reason GoBundance appealed to me is because it's a focus on the whole human instead of just money, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. And do you have to be a millionaire to be in the group?
Yeah. So in order to join GoBundance Women, we do a net worth check, because the investing steps that you would take if it's your first investment, it's a different kind of conversation than if you're trying to go from a 2 million net worth to a $10 million net worth, right? Mm-hmm. But in order to serve the women and men who aren't quite yet at the millionaire status, we have a group called Emerge that my friend Jamie Gruber runs.
Cool.
And there is the GoBundance men too for our male.
Yep,
our male
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, how dare we leave out the boy?
Oh, sorry, boys.
Let's not forget them. Let's not
Mandy,
forget
tell
them.
us, we really appreciate you being on. Any final questions, Monica?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I could just sit and ask questions all day, but I forgot that we're doing a podcast that should probably not last 2 hours. So, and we want to honor Mandy's time. Thank you so much, Mandy. This is a great initial conversation for our listeners, I think. And I think we need to do more of this, Jenn. And I know Jenn is a student of investing, always has been. She's heads above me on that. And I have a lot to learn from both of y'all. So appreciate it.
Mandy, if people want to get in touch with you, they want to get into your world, they want to see the calculator, like how can they get in touch with you?
The very best way to see all of the stuff I'm into is go to my website, mandymcallister.com.
That's with 2 L's, McAllister.
McAllister.
You're awesome, Mandy. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. I know how valuable it is.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. That's going to have to be the end of today's battle. If you liked what you heard here, please share it with somebody that you think would get some value out of this. And I think that's it for us today, Jenn. What do you think?
I think it is. And I forgot. Oh, please. I forgot what we normally say. It's been like so long since we
haven't recorded in a while.
But if you're interested in partnering with Monica and I so that you can level up your business and your life, feel free to reach out to us by text or calling 513-400-1691. Thanks, Monica. Thank you, Mandy. You're the best.
Thanks, Mandy. See you next time, Jenn.
Bye.